to One Woman. I'm your host, Sharla Brown, and on today's show, I'm talking with Kerry Berlinquette. We talk on One Woman with incredible women from around the world and share their inspiring stories, and I'm so excited to have such an incredible woman sitting with me today.
What an honor, Sharla. I'm giddy with excitement.
Yeah, so let's start with Kerry as a little girl. What kind of a little girl were you? Were you a troublemaker? Were you I think you're probably a pretty good little girl.
I was a very good little girl. I was not trouble at all, and my mom will attest to that.
Yes. So, did you know from a young age what you wanted to be when you grow up? Or?
Yep, I always wanted to be a famous actress.
Wow.
Yep, not just a regular actress, a very famous one.
Wow.
And here I am.
And what kind of shows did you want to be on?
I just wanted to be on TV. I wanted to sing. I wanted to dance. As you witnessed some of my good singing earlier.
Kidding.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I just always wanted to be an actress. That was all I ever wanted to be.
Well, really,
Yep.
you are on Shaw TV.
I know.
People can catch you 7 days a week. I mean, really,
That's
you've
right.
done it. You've done
know.
it.
I've hit my peak.
Right. Awesome. All right. Well, moving on kind of into life, let's talk about school a little bit. Did you love school? Was it something you enjoyed doing? Did you go on to college or university?
Yeah, school for me, my family moved around a lot when I was a kid, so every couple of years was a new school. So I liked school, but I was never super good at school. I took grade 11 algebra 3 times, and I think the third time Mr. Sawatsky just passed me just to get me out of there. So I didn't do great in school, but I did okay. I passed, and that was all that really was needed back then. And I did go to college here in Thunder Bay, Confederation College. I took travel and tourism, and it still serves me well today, so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, absolutely. And were you born here in Thunder Bay? You said you traveled around a lot, but you were born here and you've stayed here. What's kept you in Thunder Bay?
I actually wasn't born here.
You weren't?
No,
Okay.
I was born somewhere called Cranbrook, BC.
Oh, yeah.
And I've moved all over the world, so I've been very fortunate. I came to Thunder Bay when I was a little over 18 years old, I guess, between 17 and 18. And I didn't love it when I first arrived, because that's a tough time to move. I had just finished grade 12. So to come to a new city and try to make friends when everybody else was still in high school, because it was grade 13 back then.
Right.
So I thought, oh, what am I going to do here? And I remember writing to my best friend, because you used to write letters back then.
Yes.
And I said, oh, Melissa, they wear their track pants to the mall here. I was mortified, because moving from Vancouver, I thought I was quite fancy. And now I wear my track pants to the mall, and I'm very comfortable, thank you very much. And Thunder Bay, my parents continued moving on after their couple of years here. And I said, no way, I'm staying put. So it was, Thunder Bay is, I've fallen in love.
Right. And how come all the moving? Did you come from a military family? Or?
No, my dad was an accountant with paper mills.
Right.
Yeah, so same sort of thing. But yeah, it was a fabulous way to grow up. And people always said, oh, I feel so bad for you moving all the time. But, you know, it was always sad when we moved.
Yes.
But the skills I learned and the things I saw when I was younger were worth it.
And you said you lived kind of basically all around the world in all these different places. So where are some of the places you went, and what are the things that you learned kind of growing up, living in different environments?
Well, that was really interesting. We lived in Africa, which is close to your heart. We lived in Australia. We lived in a number of places in Canada and the United States. And we did a lot of traveling around while we were there. I really learned a lot about diversity and what it's like to be on the other side of the coin. To be the minority somewhere and to have to deal with that was a great lesson for me growing up. So I think it made me very, I really understand sometimes how people feel when they come to a different environment and how hard it is to fit in, because I really lived that. But I'm grateful for that I got to learn that when I was young instead of trying to learn that now.
Right.
Yeah.
So you must have loved it in some aspects of traveling and being different places, because you decided to choose that as a career path and go into travel and tourism.
I did, and that's why, because I didn't love school, it was, you know, when it was time to start thinking about what am I going to do, I thought, what can I do? Because I'm not really good at sitting in a classroom and learning. And then it was like, oh, I could be a travel agent, and then I could, because I know how to travel, I could just sell trips. And that's what I ended up doing. And I remember my One of my mentors, Norma McCracken, said to me once, if you are a travel agent, you'll never have no one to talk to at a party. And I thought, what does she mean by that? But what I learned, Sharla, was everybody loves talking about travel. And back in the day when travel agents were very popular, you used a travel agent for everything because you weren't going on the internet doing it yourself. Everybody did always want to talk to me because it was like, oh, where should we go? And how much does it cost to go here? And what was it like when you went there? So I really understood what she meant after doing that as a career choice.
Yeah, and cool. I remember Norma. I think she was still at the college back when I was there. And I think she was at Thunder Bay Travel, was it? Or
yes.
Back at the time?
Yeah, she was amazing.
Awesome, awesome. So tell me a little bit about kind of where things have went from there. So you still do a lot in terms of travel, but also really building and promoting travel and tourism right here in Thunder Bay, and you've really grown to love our city.
Oh, more than you know. Actually, no, I think you do know, because I think you and I both share that, and that's something that bonds us together is our love for Thunder Bay. Tourism is at my heart. I find it fascinating what draws people somewhere, what makes people want to do certain things and have certain experiences. So it's been fun being able to, for the first part of my career, send people away to have those experiences. But as I see the need here in our city, now I want to look at making a move to doing things that will bring people here, both inbound and outbound tourism. But I do love the outbound tourism because it's fun to go travel, and again, as you know so well, it's fun to see that there is a world outside of our back door. So that's really important, I think, to keep reminding yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. So
and that balance of both, because the thing is that most people love to travel, see new places, experience new things, but for a lot of us that's watching this show today, Thunder Bay is home, or Northwestern Ontario is home. And that sometimes we take for granted all the amazing things that we have right within reach that we could go and do on a weekend or in an evening, or if we have family or friends that's visiting, to be able to experience. And we lose sight of that lots of times or take it for granted.
Exactly. And that's what my next step is going to be. It's really promoting that end of Thunder Bay, what there is to do here, and just spending the past few months really racking my brain and thinking of all the amazing opportunities just in our backyard, and they're endless. Like that, when was the last time you did the walk between Trowbridge Falls and Centennial Park, for example? That walk in itself, if you went to another center, you'd be your mind would be blown, saying, "Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful! How can this just be right here?" It's right there, and we just forget that we forget, and the sleeping giant, getting out there and just exploring, and it doesn't matter how mobile you are or what accessibility you have. There's so much just within a stone's throw from our door, and it's amazing, and I love it.
Absolutely. And you have some really big goals, I know, in terms of just, those of us who live here, just being able to, evolve us as to how we see the city, but how we also talk to people who are maybe visiting and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about that a little bit.
Well, I just think of two things come to mind right off the top of my head. I was doing a little tour for some people about a month ago, and we were in a bus and we were driving around Boulevard Lake. And there were some people, ladies around my age category, and they were going for their walk, and I was doing my spiel and saying, oh, there's ladies walking and there's some deer. And the ladies who were walking, as our little bus drove by, they all raised their hands and waved at the bus. And I just felt all these tears choke up inside of me, and I just had so much pride in that moment because all the people on the bus said, oh, they all wave at you here? And I'm like, yep, that's what we do. So that really made a difference to me. And just being on the East Coast this past fall, I was looking for something on the street. And I had that look that you get when you're looking. And a lady stopped and actually touched my elbow and said, is there something that I can help you find? And I was like, you're not asking me for anything. You don't want anything. You're just wanting to help me. And I thought, that's what I want for our city. I want us to realize how important just that one little thing can just change someone's entire visitor experience. So that's what I'm hoping to promote and just get out there that, hey, we've got beauty here. Let's show people. Let's show them how it's done.
I love that. Well, we're going to take a quick break, but we're going to be right back with Kerry and talk a little more about her journey. Welcome back to One Woman. I'm your host, Sharla Brown, and if you're just tuning in, I've been talking today with Kerry Berlinquette, no stranger to Shaw TV. You often catch her on this show doing lots of interviews too, so it's been great to kind of learn a little bit about the woman behind that microphone.
Thanks,
for sure.
Sharla. Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about motherhood. So you have a son, Cade. So let's talk about kind of what it's meant in your life to have become a mother and to be a mother.
Right. I never really thought of being a mom, really. You know how a lot of people think their whole life, oh, I'm going to be a mom and I'm going to have lots of kids. I never thought that way. I was an only child and very selfish and self-centered. So I thought, if it happens and I'm lucky enough to have a child, that's wonderful. Then this little child came into my life, and needless to say, he's just everything to me. And I see so much of myself in him, which may be a good thing, may be a bad thing. And I love his company so much, but sadly he's 17, so he doesn't think I'm as cool as I like to think I am. So my time with him is just so important, and I love that kid so much. Yeah, he's a pretty cool kid.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
And lots of times I'll send who I'm interviewing a whole bunch of questions, and lots of times we don't get a chance to go through some of those questions. But I thought that was great that, you know, you actually had went through and you read a lot of them, and they really had evoked a lot of kind of thought in your own life. So I thought maybe we could touch on those. Which one was kind of like, what's been your life's most defining moment? And you could talk about one or maybe a few that really stand out in your mind, but I'm super curious.
Oh, that's wonderful. Well, Sharla, when you sent me the list of questions that you may or may not ask, I took them and I've spent probably about 4 days looking at them and thinking about them, not because I was nervous about speaking with you, but I just thought, well, wow, these are amazing questions. And some of the things you asked really made me think just about kindness and about times in your life where things change. And it just made me really reflect. And as I had explained earlier, I thought about some moments of kindness that people have shown me. And sometimes those moments are fleeting and they happen and then you just kind of tuck them away. But reading that question really made me look back and remember the people who were so kind for absolutely no benefit to them. They were never going to see me again. I was just another face to them. And it really made me get a little teary and really thank them again. But I really loved the defining moment question. What was one of your life's most defining moments? And it really made me recognize that as we go through our lives, there are many defining moments. And some years you can go 20 years without a defining moment because you are locked into the role that you're in at that time, whether it's being a mom, a wife, a friend, a caregiver, whatever it might be. So you don't really think about moments. In the past 7 or 8 years, I've had more defining moments than I can even think about. And that's what makes me so happy at this point in my life, because I feel like I really recognize each thing that happened as happening for a reason. They weren't always good things, needless to say, but they all happened to bring me to where I am right now.
Absolutely, for sure. How about role models in your life? Is there anybody who you really turn to or look up to? Maybe there's a number of people.
Yes, and I do have to really say that there are a number. My mom, obviously, I mean, I know that that's such a cliche to say, oh, my mom, but really my mom is an amazing woman, and she has transformed herself in a way that I didn't know what was possible. We call her Granny 2.0 now.
Wow.
Yeah, because she's pretty cool. But then I look at the people that I surround myself with, my friends. Those people, again, I look at them every day and I'm so aware of the trials and tribulations that each one of them have experienced, and they are my role models. And that's why I choose to surround myself with them. And that's what makes me so happy all the time, is because I'm around people who do such inspiring and amazing things. Those would be my role models for sure.
No doubt, no doubt. And what kind of things does Kerry like to do for fun? We know Kerry the mom, the businesswoman, you know, really involved in the community. And what are the things that you love that really brings you joy in your life?
I think I'm the luckiest girl in the world, because those things that you just said are the things that bring me the most joy in my world. So I am so fortunate in that I have crafted my life, and it takes work. It doesn't just happen, but I've crafted my life where I only have to do the things I love to do. So I don't have to go to work every day from 8 till 5 and sit in a cubicle and do things I don't want to do. I have this amazing life where I get to travel. I get to spend all the time that my kid will have me is time I can spend with him. I get to be with my friends. I get to be out in my community, and I get to do that for my living as well. I'm involved in beer stuff. Like people call me the beer girl. That's fun. So I'm just so fortunate in that I have made those things that make me happy. I have made them my social life, my work life, and my hobbies all rolled into one. I'm very lucky.
Absolutely. And I think that's what most people dream or aspire to do, is that they wake up every day and that they love their life. But sometimes, you know, as we go on in life, we get lost along the way, or we get stuck maybe in a job that we don't like. And so what were the things that really made you to decide and get to a point is like, this is how I'm going to live my life, and I'm not going to settle for, you know, having a job that I don't enjoy doing, or a life that I don't love every day?
A number of things, again, have brought me to that point. When I think of a defining moment, and again, this would be a long story, but I'll make it as short as possible. One day I realized that everything that I had and loved, everything was gone. And it was the most horrible day of my life. And I remember quite physically laying on the ground and having a really, really good cry. And it wasn't good at all. I had just been to the bank and had been told that as a 40-something-year-old woman, I couldn't even get a $500 visa. Like I was at rock bottom. So I laid there, and then all of a sudden it was like, nope. And you know how sometimes when you slip and fall and then you go like this and make sure nobody's seen? It was like I mentally did that, and I jumped up and I said, no, this can't go on. This now, I have to start doing this, and this, because nobody's gonna see me down there again. So that was the time when I said, everything I do from here on in is just for me. And if good comes of that, then I've done a good job.
I love that.
Thank
Absolutely
you.
love that.
Thank you. It's great.
And was that, like, if there's somebody watching, you know, that's feeling like they're in that moment, because I get to meet a lot of women from across the country, around the world, that we can find ourselves in those moments, you know, very easily, and that life can change in the blink of an eye, sometimes for the better and sometimes for the worse. That what are those things that continue to keep you in that mindset, that keep you going, that keep you in that path? Because that can be tough. Life can throw you the curveballs at any time, and it doesn't just kind of necessarily all fall together. What are the things that keep you going?
Jeepers. I think I just always think of an Eminem song, actually. I know I'm a bit of a gangster at heart.
I see that, yeah.
But just about how you have one chance, right? So you can, and again, I'm not speaking as someone who claims to have been through everything, because I absolutely have not, and I've been very fortunate in my life. But for me, having been through what the worst possible scenario was for me, I can say that I said, I get one chance now. I can either fix it, and I better get moving and do that right now, or I can stay on this path and end up not in a very good place. So I think it's all up here. You're the only person that's in charge of this, and no matter what anybody else does, if you're strong and you say, no, I got to go this way instead of that way, you'll go that way.
Right, yeah. Right. What's that saying going? You can't necessarily control the storm, but you can adjust your sails when it comes to, you know, how you're sailing through life, for sure.
It's so true.
Yes. Well, we're going to take another quick break, and we're going to be right back with Kerry. Welcome back to One Woman. I'm your host, Sharla Brown, and on today's show, we've been talking with Kerry Berlinquette and all about her incredible life. And we talked about maybe some of the challenges and how you've overcame those. I'm curious as to kind of something that you're most proud of that's happened in your life.
Oh boy. Well, again, I think a lot of things have happened to me in the past short time, and those are the things I remember. I've been very fortunate in my life, and I really want to make that clear that, you know, being healthy, having enough money to live, having a comfortable place to sleep has never been a problem for me. So I'm very, very grateful. I find it really tough to, no, I don't know. I'm lost on that one.
You're
I'm
lost on that one,
Sharla. Yeah, that's a tough one for me.
Right. Well, if that comes back to you, sometimes it's hard for us as women, and that's what I find as I talk to various women, it's hard for them to think of themselves or to even say something that they're proud of, or they'll say, go to their children. I'm proud of my children. But yeah, I'm planted that seed, and you can think about that one as you're maybe driving home.
Okay.
So let's talk a little bit about entrepreneurship. So is that something that came natural to you, and do you feel like you're born to be an entrepreneur? Because you do a great job at it.
It's an addiction. It's crazy. So that all started with the tall ship bounty. So it was a tall ship that came to Thunder Bay in 2010. And at the time, we saw that the tall ship was going for a festival in Duluth. And so I said at the time, why can't it come here? Thinking it's not a very long distance. So people said, sure, go ahead, ask. So I asked. And then it came, but we paid for that ourselves. So that was an out-of-pocket expense, and you take a risk, you roll the dice and think, gee, can I get all these people to come and see this? So we charged $3 a person. And it covered itself. And we were able to donate money to charity, and 8,000 people showed up to see this boat that day. And I blame the bounty for every entrepreneurial thing I've done since then, because it just showed me, yeah, you know what? Throw it out there, as our friend Erica would say.
Yes.
Throw it out there, see if it works. And if it does, that's great. And if it doesn't, well, then you just throw it out there again and try something different. But I love entrepreneurism, and I love small business owners, and again, just learning their stories, it feeds me and it fuels my fire.
And it's really the foundation to a really amazing community, as
It
you
is.
and I have both kind of experienced, is being able to work with small business owners and seeing how it makes the community thrive. And
Oh, yes.
one of the things that I love that you brought to Thunder Bay and made happen was Brew Hobb, which brings thousands of people together down at the most beautiful spot in our city at the waterfront. So tell me why it was important for you to put that on.
That's fun. So my partner, John Hendel, who anyone who knows him knows he's just fantastic. He and I became friends through beer. And one day we said, yeah, you know what, we should have a festival. Yeah, okay, let's have a festival. Glug, 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 drink your beer, and then Brew Hobb began. So it's in its 4th year now, and we have so much fun with that, Sharla. There's the usual eyelash plucking, as people don't buy their tickets until a month before or a week before, but that's typical with events. But what a great thing to be outside and allowed to have your little thing of beer. And we're sticklers for security and safety and all that stuff. But I'll tell you, we just have a ball with that. And that has been a very defining part of my career.
Yes.
I've loved every minute of that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Well, the city has loved having it.
Oh,
and
it's fun.
The whole moral of this story is that good ideas come from drinking beer with your friends.
See?
You could come up with a really awesome idea, right?
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. No, it was great.
Awesome.
We love it.
Awesome. So, so that's all evolved to kind of what you're doing now in terms of, the tourism and just adding to that and doing other cool events and all that kind of stuff. And
Yes.
yeah, so anything in the pipes that we can do, like a sneak to the audience about, anything that you're working on that people can look forward to. I know you're talking about maybe some culinary tours and.
Yes, so Destination Thunder Bay will be the name of the company, and it's a destination management company, which basically means people coming to Thunder Bay, we want to offer more suggestions of what they can do when they're here. So whether it's visitors coming to do tours, or if it's people coming in and planning corporate events, that sort of stuff, we want to look after all of that. Receptive services. Events, we're so excited. I told you about Head and Shoulders, Knees and Toes, which is like my little joy, which will be guided hikes of the Sleeping Giant. So we'll be taking Greg from Sail Superior. He's going to have a 12-person Zodiac. So we're going to hop in the Zodiac, take a high-speed ride out to the Sleeping Giant, and then over the different weekends in the summer, you'll be able to hike up the head, hike up the shoulders, hike up the knees, or hike all the way to the toes, where there's this amazing Thunder Cape Bird Observatory.
Wow.
It's a long walk, But that'll be so much fun. And then have a lunch and then zip back home again. So those are all things that maybe aren't accessible to everyone. If you're driving in a car for an hour and then having to bike in 6 kilometers, we're going to get you there in 45, 50 minutes.
Yeah.
Up you go for the hike and then head home.
Nice.
So those are the sorts of things we hope to provide, or that we will provide. And we're just excited to see that enthusiasm again for our region just start to thrive.
Yeah, that's awesome. And the other thing is you're doing a call out and looking for ambassadors and people who want to really celebrate and show off, Thunder Bay and what it has to offer. So let's talk a little bit about that.
Well, that was really great. Now, I called out to people who are just excited about being from Thunder Bay. And what my goal is, maybe not this summer, but going into the following year, is finding people that have a special passion. So say you're absolutely passionate and knowledgeable about rocks. I bet you we could put together a busload of 30 people that you could show rocks to, and teach them and help them learn, or boreal forest stuff, or history, or art. The possibilities are endless, as you and I have discussed. It's one of those things where the opportunities are so many and so vast, just want to grab them all. So I'm looking forward to meeting those people who have that passion just like me, and just visualize, hey, let's share this now. Let's show other people so that they can then teach people as well.
Absolutely.
That's what I'm pumped about.
I love it. Well, I'm super excited for you, Kerry.
Thank you.
One final question. What are you wanting to be thought of when people think of Kerry and your life and what you stand for? What are the things that most come to your mind that you always want to be remembered for?
I think there's probably 2 words that I really, really push for in myself. One of them would be genuine. Like, I hope people see that this is a real passion for life, and that my joy for being around every day and being so happy is genuine. And the second is kindness. I really appreciate kindness, and I hope that I can give to people how much I have received in my lifetime. So those are probably 2 of the most important things for me, Sharla.
I love that.
Thank you.
And I love you. And thank you so much for being on the show today. Kerry is one of the most kind, caring, genuine, giving people who I know, and I'm honored to be able to call her my friend. So thank you for being on the show today, Kerry, and I've been happy to be able to share Kerry with you, that if you didn't know her, well, you know her now, and get to know her as she shows you all around Thunder Bay and all the great things that there is to do here in this city. And be sure to keep watching. There's more next week on One Woman.